Now that I have your attention, let's talk cars. For doctors, from being boys to men, if there's something which we've been highly infatuated with, it was the cars. We took pride in our dad's car, those Sunday morning car washes. For us boys, it's a passion, it's a way of life. And when we got our own first car, it's like saying without saying, I've made it. Even if it's Suzuki Alto. But trust me, as a migrant doctor, you will need a car for work, recreation, weekend locums, appointments. And in fact, this will be your most important investment in your personal office when you want to buy your first car or a second car. You start looking at reviews and commercials. They will make us believe that there is no price for passion. You pursue your dreams. You are working as a doctor in Australia, in UK, or even US. You need to treat yourself with a nice ride, as life is short. But in my experience as a migrant doctor, our journey of owning car is very predictable. We get our job, our first job, we buy our first car, which is often a second-hand car, and as we progress, getting better jobs and passing exams, we buy bigger and faster cars, German cars, electric cars, muscle cars, supercars. And as we feel and smell the hard work through a new plastic, that must be the sweet smell of success that everyone talks about. The reality hits. For me, it was 5 years ago on an extremely hot Sydney weekend. The mercury was hitting close to about 37 degrees and I was driving for my evening shift when my fresh out of warranty BMW 5 Series came up with a temperature warning and then it stopped. After cooling down, I managed to start it again, but I was very worried that when I finish my shift at midnight and it breaks down again on a highway, it would be very unsafe. Very next day, I had it looked over by service people who said that it had a faulty water cooling system, which will cost me about $2,000 to replace after it's ordered from Germany. So it will take roughly about 2 to 3 weeks to fix. That day, I had a realization. My dream is over. And don't get me wrong, it was a great dream while it's lasted, but now it made me rethink about best car for me as a busy emergency consultant, a businessman, which is very different to my initial imaginations. In this video, I will reflect on my journey as an international medical graduate and also as a doctor of buying cars. And as always, I will break this conversation down to the first car. We'll talk about the factors that you need to consider while buying the best car, like safety, reliability, entertainment, comfort, economy, the looks, the badge, the cost of ownership, the running cost of the car, the future of cars, and finally, I'll give you my recommendation based on all of these factors. So the first car. My own first car was out of pure desperation after getting a beating from a rain and cold British weather while cycling to work. I came across an advert in a local newspaper of a man selling his Ford Escort for £750. The car was a major step up in my convenience from a bicycle. It had power windows, manual transmission, big enough boot, and it gave me many memorable trips. Despite it being second hand, it gave me very few troubles. And then when it did, they were very cheaply fixed. And as I moved to Australia in 2006, I sold it to a migrant electrician for £500. So not a bad deal at all. But in the same time, I saw my UK IMG colleagues choosing Honda Accord, Toyotas and Ford Focuses as their first car. But then very quickly trying to buy German cars like BMW, Mercedes and Audis, and even as a trainee junior medical officer. And then they would do locums at weekends, working crazy hours to service their hobbies. I think the first car should be bought for at least a plan of 5 years. It will get through your training years. It should be a budget, having a reliable, comfortable and safe vehicle. Japanese cars like Toyota, Honda and Nissans are always a safe first choice. If you're buying a second-hand car, choose a car under 30,000 kilometers, about 3 to 4 years old car. So most car would still have their 1 or 2 years worth of company warranty. So you will essentially be getting a half price car compared to its newer model and still having some warranty. Your first car lasted you about 4 years. You're a registrar or a junior consultant now. You have a busy life, you have a few kids, and as migrants, your relatives come and visit you every few years. Your decision to buy a next car should be based on following factors. Number 1, safety. Technologies like 3-point safety belts, front airbags, anti-lock braking systems are essential safety these days. Current acceptable standard technologies are front and side curtain airbags, autonomous emergency braking system for cyclist and pedestrian, blind spot monitoring, electronic stability control, lane keep assist and lane departure warning. Also choose a car which has been crash safety standard tested. Do not choose a car with compromise on safety ever. Number 2, reliability. As a doctors, we don't have time for 2 to 3 services per year and even unexpected minor issues. Choose a car with 5-year or 7-year unlimited kilometer warranty, and the service intervals should be at least once per year on an average. Now, Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, Lexus, Honda, Skoda, they all offer about 5 to up to 7 years of unlimited kilometers warranty. Looking at that competition, even BMW and Audi have increased their warranty to 5 years to unlimited kilometer. But in my experience, the issue is not getting them fixed for free, but having no issues at all in the first place. I would suggest to go with minimum of 5-year warranty with a good track record like Lexus, Toyota, Kia, or good German brands, if that's a thing. Be mindful, German and British cars notoriously have minor issues requiring frequent garage and service trips. So do keep this in mind if you're a busy doctor. Efficiency. These days, there are electric cars rolling out every month, mostly from China. Currently, Chinese are in fact the biggest electric car makers in the world. China made brands like BYD, NIO, Great Wall Motions, Haval, and in fact, they're also making Tesla and other vehicles for American companies. And they're making good quality electric cars. And I think the prices will eventually drop compared to the major brands like Tesla and German European cars, which are trying to define electric luxury cars. But the point is, public do not want an expensive electric car. The whole idea of electric vehicle is cost saving. And so expensive premium electric car will lose its battle eventually, as cheaper Toyotas, Kias and Chinese rivals will put everything in their cars and earn a profit based on just sheer volume. Maybe you're not ready for EV car yet. Your options are pure gasoline, that is either petrol or diesel, hybrid, electric vehicles or plug-in hybrid. The choice really depends on your budget. However, there is no point buying a $60,000 electric car when you can get a very fuel efficient small car for half that price, and the whole cost of fuel and maintenance over the 10-year lifetime of that car is going to be as much as $15,000. So do your math properly. If you're buying a petrol car, go for the cars like compact SUVs and sedans, which have higher miles per gallon gasoline mileage. For gasoline powered vehicles, opt for those with efficient engines with start-stop systems, the engines that turn off when the engine is idle and starts when the car is going. Hybrid cars are the king right now. Now, Toyota Camry, RAV, Kluger or Highlander wait times for brand new vehicles are well over a year. These vehicles provide excellent fuel economy and reduce emissions by utilizing regenerative braking capacity to charge the battery. You can still go for an electric car, but when considering an electric car, examine its range, the charging infrastructure in your area, and availability of the charging station. Many countries offer incentives and tax credits for electric vehicles, so do look into those when purchasing an electric vehicle. If you wait for the next 2 or 3 years, you will have a lot better and much cheaper electric cars with fully spec'd beautiful vehicles coming out of China, Japanese market. I'm not sure about plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, if it's the best of the both worlds or the worst of the both worlds. I don't know. They currently represent a small market compared to hybrids and electric car even. They can run on electricity for shorter distances and switch to gasoline power for longer trips. But still, you've got a car which needs to be charged at home, but then again, it has to have a petrol. I don't know, but it sounds too much work and hassle, and I can see maintenance written all over it. For me, comfort is all about easy access to a coffee. Some cars are deficient from these functionalities of having a coffee or a cup holder or a big water bottle on my long trips. Good leg and headroom, dual zone climate control, and heated and ventilated seats are other things that you might like to consider. And also think German cars have had hard shock absorbers and suspension, but because you spend too much on a German car, you just pretend that you're used to it, but you only feel the difference when you sit in your friend's very supple Lexus, Honda or Toyota. So make sure that your suspension system, seats, material and advanced features like noise cancellation and technology can contribute to a comfortable driving experience. Doctors commute a lot. You need a car that you can listen to a music, podcast, talk to your family, even hold an occasional Zoom meeting. And this is now all possible with a touch of a button with integrated Apple CarPlay or an Android Auto, either through a wired system or wireless system. I think having a wireless or wired 4 integration are definitely a must in any car these days, as all cars generally are better looking from their predecessors. However, I think there is a serious compromise being made in space to keep them light. Cars are about transporting people in comfort, and yes, style does matter, but do not compromise the style on the basic functionality of the car. Go for the shapes which are more aerodynamic. Make sure the looks don't compromise the space, however. Also with Tesla, I've seen they have got this very minimalist approach. A lot of the function have been compromised, like there are no buttons. All of the functions have now been integrated in their central console touchscreen. And yes, you can get used to it, but it is a distraction. So make sure that for the most common functions that you use, like air conditioning, ventilation, glove box, audio, there are physical or customizable buttons. SUV versus sedans. Majority of sales are in compact SUV and SUV segments, but then you see a family of 3 or 4 in a big SUV. Trust me, bigger car means bigger expenses like fuel, maintenance, even a car wash is expensive in SUV. Compact SUV is a marketing gimmick that just gives you a false sense of off-road vehicle, when in reality it's just a sedan which is designed to give you a higher driving position in a hatchback shape. Also, have you noticed that most SUVs are not off-road? You'll be mostly using the SUVs to go to the supermarket, hospital, school drops, and family trips in civilization. So you won't be using them in any sort of off-roading capacity majority of times. So if you want to move a family of 6 plus, buy a Kia Carnival. If you have a family of 5, buy a hybrid SUV like Toyota Kluger or a Highlander, Hyundai Santa Fe, or go for Skoda SUVs or station wagons. If you have a family of 4 or less, I think still sedans are much more efficient. They've got lots of space for all your family need. Trust me on that. The badge. German versus Japanese versus Korean versus even Chinese. Who would have thought that I've said that? The differences in technology and comfort and safety used to be huge between the German and Japanese car brands. Now the standard equipment and the safety features has taken this issue out of decision-making process. The only decision now is how much money you're willing to pay for a brand. For certain features, buy a car for yourself, be it European, American, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, or even British. For me, a well-kept car, which is an absolutely clean car inside and out, no matter the brand, with a bit of personalization, is far superior than any other dirty interior expensive car. While the upfront price of a car is an important factor, don't forget to consider the total cost of the ownership. Look into factors like registration, insurance rate, maintenance cost, depreciation. Hybrid vehicles are efficient cars. Often they have lower long-term expenses due to reduced fuel consumption and fewer maintenance requirements. Furthermore, electric cars are tax incentivized. Look into those factors when you're making a decision to purchase a car. Test drive and final tips. Now shortlist 3 cars and it's time for a test drive. You need to pay attention to 3 main features. Number 1, how the car handles, its acceleration and overall comfort. You'll get a sense of how easy it is to park at your house and at your work, and whether this boot is big enough to accommodate all your needs. Lastly, remember, most efficient car requires sensible driving habits such as gentle acceleration, maintaining proper tire pressure, and avoiding unnecessary idling. If you drive a Corolla like a Lamborghini, it will probably consume a fuel like a Lamborghini too. Future, I believe in the next 5 years, majority of private cars will either be pure electric or some version of a hybrid vehicle. It would be normal for a car to have a driving range on a single charge of up to 1,000 kilometers, meaning less charging and more distance to travel. The cars would also be a technological wonder with collision prevention system, preventing a crash, flip, slip, and many types of pedestrian accident. The mobile phone integration will be truly wireless, with Apple CarPlay controlling many of the functionalities of the actual car. The self-park and self-drive technology will be standardized across the range of vehicle in some fraction of its total delivery. The future is looking very exciting. So my final recommendation for all the doctors out there is Buy a fuss-free car with a good safety and comfort features. Go for either a hybrid at present or wait for 2 years for a well-priced and well-specced electric car. Always go for a car with 5 to 7 year of unlimited kilometer warranty. Go for the car which require once a year service. I like listening to music podcasts. For me, a good quiet cabin and audio equipment is very important. Look at all the options of buying, which is outright buying, leasing, salary packaging, and talk to your accountant. Buy a car that you're not too much in love with to overlook its shortcomings and its limitation. A car must be a humble transport, always ready to serve you. Don't spend too much money on cars. Car prices globally have just shot up. They are outright expensive to buy with a luxury car tax and also expensive to maintain these days. I would not recommend a diesel car in this day and age. Petrol hybrid cars are comfortable, quiet, and have an excellent efficiency. Think twice if you really must buy SUV. I know sedans are vanishing, but for a couple with 1 or 2 children, it is far more manageable and makes sense to have a sedan. If you're buying a second-hand car, then prefer to buy a car with at least 1 or 2 year warranty is still available, and go with a Japanese brand as your first car and you will be sweet. Test drive a few cars. Now, YouTube reviews are done by people who do not know your needs. Also, they have cars for only few days. You will have car for the entirety of its life, which might be 5 or 10 years even. If you like this conversation, please like and subscribe. Look after each other and drive safely. I'll catch you up in the next video. Thank you.